here's the thing, Q. Like the thing about marriage is, and again, I was just talking to my wife about this. We're two different people, and that's what marriage is. Like literally, it's two different worlds coming together, and then they're coming together as one. She has her own experiences, her own personality. She was raised very different than I was raised, and it's like bringing these two worlds together, and they're colliding.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand how you can have a successful marriage without the one who created marriage, which is God. You feel me?
Amen. Amen.
Because
I love you, Daddy.
This is For Fathers, a podcast for fathers to uplift and encourage each other with the understanding we are the forefathers of the next generation. I'm eloQuint. Today we got my man's Reggie Jones Sr. This is episode 103, man. Tell everybody what's up.
yo, what's up? What's up? I'm glad to be here, brother. Appreciate you having me, man.
Brad, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. Hey,
Yeah.
it's finally time to get you on. Finally
Yes,
time.
sir. Yes, sir. First off, that intro is crazy, phenomenal, man. I rock with it heavy. I love the energy. Always had it on the court, off the court. So yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
I appreciate that. Man. It's actually part of the original poem I wrote for it, but that
Mm,
was more of a downcast thing because I was going through so
mm,
much. And
mm.
now I kind of uplifted it and changed it up and reinvigorate like I reinvigorated the podcast. So I appreciate you even pointing that out, bro.
Yeah, I rock with it.
So man, exciting. You about to when's the due date, bro?
November 19th is the due date. So we
Sheesh.
couple weeks out. Could be sooner. So
Yeah.
I mean, any day now.
I always joke with everybody because I got 2 November babies. Well, 3
Oh
now because
wow.
my wife's daughter's in November. But I say, you got a Valentine's Day, baby. You must have had a good Valentine's
that's that's a fact. That's a
Day.
fact. Yeah, Valentine's Day, my birthday. So it was a good month. Clearly,
Yeah,
clearly,
I'm
clearly.
I'm already knowing. I'm already knowing that. I got 3 of them things in November. I saw, yeah, that's that Valentine's Day.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way, but I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, February. We here in November basically, so yeah, February,
Yeah.
baby.
I got my first is New Year's, and then my last 3 are Valentine's Day. That's how I kind of put it in my mind. So
Wow,
it's
that's
funny though.
that's easy to remember too. So that's
Oh yeah.
that's solid.
Yeah, it is, bro. So, man, I gotta ask, bro, that
Mhm.
pregnancy life, man, how is that going for you?
Yeah. I don't mind being honest, man. It's every day is different emotions. It's different emotions. I from the day that we found out to now, literally before I just jumped on this call, me and my wife, we were just having a real conversation. We check in daily about where we at, what we feeling, where what's going on in our heads, and we were just talking about how it's been a ride, it's been a journey, and now that we're in the last stretch, and Noah, that's her name. Noah can be here
Word.
any day now. It's a lot of emotions, man. There's moments where I'm excited, and I'm always ready for her to be here, and just I can't wait to meet her. But then there's moments, man, where it's just like I don't know how we're gonna do this. Like I don't know how we're gonna figure this out. Like, do we have everything together? And I'm always hearing that we'll never have it all together. So every day is just different emotions. It's up and down. And right now in the moment though, I'm feeling pretty good and just making sure I'm supporting wifey as much as I can, bro. And that's all I can do.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate that. Just being authentic and raw because I know everybody wants everybody to feel like, oh, you gotta be elated all the time. You're having a
Yeah,
baby, like you can't have no dom. Like, nah, bro. Like, hey, you gotta take care of it. That's a whole body, a whole person,
it
a
is.
whole
It is.
personality. Like, you have to take care of that, and you're the man.
Mm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah,
responsibility fall on you.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot
So
of it's a lot of pressure that could come up at times, and it's the first one, so
yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. You remember when you
Oh
right
yeah.
before you had your first, so it's even more questions. I'm sure when the second one come around, there's still things that come up, but you're like, okay, we've been through this before. You kind of have an idea what to expect, but this first time for me and my wife, and we just like, yo, like we on a ride right now. We just here to figure it out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. As long as both of y'all are, communicating like you said, and it's
Mhm.
congruent in how you feel, and just understanding of each other. Is there understanding of how the rock, the roller coaster of emotions? Is there understanding on both sides?
Yeah, it's definitely an understanding. My wife, me and my wife, I feel like we both do a job, a good job, and we do the best we can to make sure that we are communicating as much as possible. Like even when it's challenging conversations and it's hard, and we don't see eye to eye, we're like, yo, we both gonna sit here, we're gonna figure it out until we figure it out. And so there is a pretty clear understanding. But I think the biggest thing that we have a very clear understanding on is that we never gonna have it all figured out. Like this is a commitment for the rest of our lives now.
Mhm.
Outside on top of our marriage, we'll always have kids that we got to be pouring into, that we got to be there for. And there's no way in the world that we'll have it all figured out right here in a moment. So it's a journey of just us two committing to just figuring it out together and not giving up, even when it gets challenging. So I'm grateful to say that we are on the same page. We are, even though we don't always agree on every single thing, we're committed to, coming together and figuring it out.
I think commitment is the biggest word. I
Yeah,
mean, you need that.
yeah,
You need
yeah.
that.
It's
You
vital.
got to be committed. Yeah. And anything like shit, when we play basketball, we was committed. Like you
Yep,
got to be
yep,
committed. Otherwise,
yep.
you're not gonna pan out to be all that you can be. You know what I mean? All that you ever will be if you're not
Yeah,
being committed. As soon as you lose distraction, as soon as you lose
yep,
focus,
yep.
it's over.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm learning that. I'm learning that now, man. So just trying to learn from guys like, ones that have been through it before, ones like you, and just be along for the ride, whatever God has in store.
Oh yeah, most def. And so in those, you brought up hard conversations. I know you've been married.
Yeah.
How long you been married again? It's been a little while, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's been so next April 17th, 2025 will be 4 years. So we
Dang,
haven't
fool.
four already. Four already. It's
Sheesh.
crazy. It's crazy, bro. Like I look up and I'm like, yo, where did time go? Um, but it's cool because last night we were at the fair, and we go to the fair every year. We make sure we take a picture because we met at the fair 11 years ago.
Wow.
So she was still a senior in high school. And Brandon Staves and a couple of the other
Yeah.
guys from Leesville. I was with them at the fair. We ran into each other randomly, never met, and that was all she wrote. And so
Oh, word. That's
so
dope.
here we are, years later, man. Coming up on 4 years being married.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So it just advice to me, I guess. How do you go about bringing up those tough conversations? You talk about having those tough conversations. So
Yeah.
what's your, I guess, do y'all have a code word or whatever the case may be? Just something. Because one thing me and my wife would do is like, you ready for a tough conversation?
Yeah.
Like, because if we're not ready, if we're not in the mindset, we already going through a bunch of stuff, a long day. Like, no, we're not ready right now. But that's kind of how we bring it to the table. So how do you
Yeah.
go about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's fire. I like that. Are you ready for a tough conversation? That's good. So we don't have necessarily a code word, but every single day we do have a check-in. We check in every morning, and that check-in is structured. So the way that is set up is one of us will share how we feel, where we at. Hey, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling upset about this. I feel excited about this. And while that person is talking, the other person is just listening. No interruptions, no talking, no distractions. Both of our phones is on silent. do not disturb, and we just allow that person to talk. And then after that person talks, we may give some feedback, and then it's the other person's turn. And so what that does is it creates room and space to listen and to be heard. And so we don't really have to, with that, we don't have to go fishing for tough conversations. Because a lot of times, like what happens organically is because we're checking in anyway, we kind of hear, okay, you feeling this way about this? Do you want to talk more about that? Or here's my feedback to that. And it's challenging, bro. You know, like I'm gonna just keep it real. Like it's never. We've been doing this for some years now, and even though it's a system, so we kind of like we're used to doing this. We're very consistent. It's never easy. Never.
Mhm.
Like them tough conversations is never easy. You know, earlier this morning, yo, like we were talking about finances. Bro,
That's
you want
a big one.
big
What?
one. Yeah, I mean, like you want to have a tough conversation. One of the main subjects that a tough conversation can come from is finances. And you know, we had our disagreements on certain things, and you know, we both got strong personalities, so we could clash on things. But what actually happened, and I think this is important to share, is in that conversation, my wife was like, "Hey, you know what? Right now, it's just best for me to just put a pause on this conversation, and we can come back." And bro, like that's one of the most impactful things that we can do at times.
You gotta know
Instead
your
of just,
boundaries.
yeah, yeah, instead of just trying to plow through, you know, everything. Sometimes you do have to use that perseverance, you know, through those tough conversations. But then it's times where you just got to step away, you know. I want to make sure when I talk to my wife, I'm talking to her in a loving way.
Mhm.
I'm expressing love to her, even in how I communicate. So if that means I got to step away and I got to gather myself, gather my thoughts, then I'm going to do that. And so that's one of the ways that we handle tough conversations, man. You know, just being very open about where we're at, how we're feeling. And then if we need to take a break, we need to come back, we do that. And so that's something that's been helpful for us.
Man, that is good, bro.
Yeah,
Shoot. And
yeah,
like you said, it does eliminate even having to ask because you being open and honest. I'm sure at first it probably was kind of hard
yeah,
to open up on all your feelings and stuff like that. I know for me, emotions, it's just as a
yeah,
man, bro. I was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially if you've been through relationships beforehand that when they like just trample on your emotions,
Hmm.
it's even
Hmm.
hard to even express them.
Hmm.
Sometimes even being an athlete, just because you just have to suppress it to
Hmm.
reach towards the mark.
Hmm.
Then you gotta
Hmm.
go get it. Like, it don't matter how you feel, go get it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. Even doing that, and like I really like the fact that y'all just make sure that you are not saying anything that you're not that you will regret, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't always get it right, bro. Like I just
Oh,
want to be honest about that. Like, yo, you know, I mean, it's
mhm.
times where we do say things that's hurtful. But even with that, hey, listen, can I talk to you for a second? Yo, what you said earlier, I wasn't really rocking with it. It didn't make me feel good at all. I just want to let you know that's how I feel about that. We apologize, you know, and then we move forward, you know, so we won't have any grudges. So yeah, man, it's important, bro. It's really important.
So what I get from you, the communication and commitment is probably the foundational things with your marriage and with marriages in general.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's, I mean, communication and commitment, you know, coming from sports with basketball, that's what any relationship is very important, you know. So I think sports, I'm telling you, and I'm sure you can agree with this, playing basketball, bro, is translated into, I would say, pretty much every area of my life, you know,
Hmm. Foundation.
especially, yes, especially marriage, and especially when it's, you know, the fact that we're expanding our family now. Like that commitment, you know, them workouts we used to be in where it's like, you like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this workout. This is crazy. You out running hills. It's 90 degrees. You on a track running and you still got another mile that you got to do, and that point where it's like, yo, you gonna fold, you gonna break, or you gonna persevere. And so it's like that commitment was being built in the trenches on a basketball court or on a track or out working out. And it translates, even though, you know, I don't play basketball anymore, it translates to my marriage, you know, and it's really helped a lot, man. Like it really has. And, you know, I feel like that's one of the foundations that keeps us together.
Just the mentality.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mentality. But in that, though, I've found myself had to dial it back sometimes. And I want to know if you ever had found yourself that, because sometimes, you know, when you're in as an athlete, but you expect the same out of your teammate. You know, neither one of us is giving up. Neither we got the same mindset. We had the same goal in mind. We're reaching the same thing. So, but in marriage, even relationships, sometimes they don't think the same. And I still found myself struggling. Like, why are you not, you know, why are you not thinking the same way? Why are you not wanting the same? Why is it like you about to give up, or not even nothing big, but I'm saying, like, why is this okay? Like, nah, but we gotta push through this mud. We gotta go get it. Like, I don't care nothing about it. It's not about to defeat me. And sometimes that is not the same, you know, because there's just different thought patterns and how they go about it. And so, have you ever found yourself had to dial it back, man? Because I had to dial it back sometimes. I'd be getting in trouble.
Yo, 1000%, bro. So you're not alone. Because I've had my fair share of getting in trouble as well, you know, with that. Here's the thing, Q, like the thing about marriage is, and again, I was just talking to my wife about this, we're two different people. And that's what marriage is. Like literally it's two different worlds coming together, and then they're coming together as one. She has her own experiences, her own personality. She was raised very different than I was raised. And it's like bringing these two worlds together and they're colliding.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand how you can have a successful marriage without the one who created marriage, which is God.
Amen.
You feel me? Because bro, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And I think that's one thing that, you know, I had to constantly remind myself of. Like, she's a completely different person than I am. And sometimes, bro, I get frustrated because I'm like, yo, you've been with me long enough. You should understand where I'm at. You should understand how I think. Yo, at this point, we should be clicking on this by now. And sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes I got to dial back and I got to sit back and be like, yo, I'm so fixated on what I think should be going on, but I got to meet her where she is. We're people, yo. We're human. We got our different emotions, our different triggers, our different experiences. And the biggest thing that has helped me, man, is just being, instead of, because I have my personality is more like, yo, this is what the goal is, and let's go after that. Like, let's go. Yeah, and I'm going at your neck. You know, like we didn't have to guard each other on the court, and it's like we going back and forth, and it's like ain't nobody giving up. Ain't nobody like, nah, no. But what I've had to learn is like it's actually very helpful for me to step back from being that. There's a time and a place for that. But sometimes I got to step back and have more of a curious approach. Like, yo, what is my wife actually feeling right now? Like, why is she feeling this way? Why is this not clicking for her? And then how can we come together? How can I meet her? Because I'm a man, and I'm called to be the leader in our home. So that doesn't just mean, yo, I tell you what to do and you do it, or I say we doing this and that's what we do. Like, nah, not sometimes, but all the time, like it's my role to lead by serving. So sometimes what that look like is me sacrificing my own feelings and how I want to go about doing it. You feel me?
Hey, we gotta be a king servant, bro. We gotta be the main servant in the house. We gotta be.
Yeah. So it's not easy. But it's important, man. It's important. And I always want to have the approach where I am serving my wife. I'm willing to sacrifice my feelings, and not to the detriment of my own health. Because if I'm no good, my family is no good.
Right.
But at the same time, like I want to lead by serving. And that's one of the ways that I can do that, just by stepping back from, hey, I feel like we need to do it this way. And sometimes just being like, okay, why are you feeling this way? What's going on? How can I be there for you? And that's what has helped me.
Yeah, I think I love that, bro. And I'm about to bring it back to Christ in a second, but I definitely
Yeah.
think that embracing the individuality is been key for me. Just
Yes.
embracing her for who she is,
Yes.
and not making her who I think she should, or help make her think the way I think she should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
embracing her individuality. I really think that that's a big thing, and so that's what I've been working on, bro. Working on heavy too, boy. Working on heavy.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, since you say that, because I agree with that. Like, giving her the safe space to be who she is. Like, just think about how much better your relationship is, or you are, because of her being her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do
I
you feel
mean,
like you would be where you are if it wasn't for her being who she is?
nah, man, because man, talking about somebody that's supportive, like
Yeah.
that's just helpful, that's speaking to me when I go do different things, and then she speaks that life
Yeah.
and sees things from a different perspective. Like even
Yeah.
with, back in the day, and sometimes still now, the different things I went through with the mothers of my kids, and the fact that she is a woman and thinks like a woman, she can
Yeah.
show me like that perspective.
Give you that
And
perspective. Yeah.
and it makes me think about it different, like, dang, you know what?
Yeah.
It still hurt. I'm still kind of mad about it, but that kind of makes sense. I see
Yeah.
how I could be one of the faults of the reason of that thinking. So man, I know I wouldn't mentally, bro. I would not be where I am today without her. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mentally, bro,
Yeah.
I need that. I need that perspective. And
Yeah.
like you said, we go get it, bro. Like
Yeah.
pounding the wall. I'm
Yeah.
gonna run through the wall, and dag, if I
Yeah.
ran through the wrong wall, I'm gonna go find another one to run through. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
all right. I
Yeah.
let's go get it. But and she really, just like I said, when you embrace that individuality and actually listen, like you said, we are the ones that make the decisions.
Yeah.
But I think listening to like some marriage sermon or something like that, he said if she makes the decision, it's still me making the decision because we're one. So if she
Exactly.
has that good idea and it's like, oh yeah, that is a good idea, I don't gotta I gotta do something else because man, nah, we made this decision together. We won.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yo, like, I agree 100%. I feel like, and this, like, you have this passion for men. I have a strong passion for men as well, and making sure that we are becoming everything that God has created us to be, man. Because like we get a lot of negative things thrown at us, bro, because we're not perfect, But I do believe that for us as men, it's very important for us to understand that, yo, when we give our wife the space to also have a voice as well and to be who they are, it's no threat to us.
Not at all.
It's not a threat. It's only a benefit. It makes us better. And I think like there are some men, which I can understand, there's many different situations, whether they lost their voice at a young age, or they were in a situation where they grew up with their parents or without their parents, where they didn't have a voice. And so what they do is when they go into marriage, they like, yo, I'm the one with the voice. You don't have a say so. Like, I understand how certain things can lead to that, but that only hurts, man. And marriage is not meant for it to be that way. I'm much stronger and a much better man, a much sharper and well-rounded man when I have the help of my wife. I don't always have the right answer. Sometimes, like, and I'm working through this, Q, but it's uncomfortable, but I'm learning how important it is sometimes to just be like, I don't know right now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the answer. I'm gonna be real with you. Versus many times where I'm sitting there and I'm coming up with answers and I'm acting like I got it all together or I got it figured out, and I'm leading us down the wrong path. And it's like, yo, why not just give my wife the space to give what her perspective is? And it's been so many times where that has helped us. You feel me?
I think it's because the fear of not being the man or looking like the man. We give a false facade instead.
Yeah.
Instead of being vulnerable, instead of saying like, "Hey, especially in that finances conversation, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know right now. I have no idea how we gonna do it.
Yep.
But give me some time, we'll figure it out. Or we just come, brainstorm together or whatever. But
Yeah.
hey, especially finances, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like,
And they
even being
appreciate
vulnerable
that.
to cry. Yeah.
They appreciate that a lot more, man. That vulnerability.
For some reason, yeah, they do.
Yeah. They
Like,
appreciate that so much more.
I think because it shows that you trust them. You
Yeah.
trust them with your emotions. Because we always been so closed off, and then when you just open up in that way, it softens them up too, and allows them to be submission, submit even more. To what you're doing. Because they know that that you're not going to lead them down the wrong way, and when you don't know, you just don't know. But we're gonna figure it out and just have that.
Exactly.
But
I agree.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And then, like I said, to pull it back around to Christ, because everything's Christ. We point everybody to Christ. That's what we do as men. Be in our rightful places when we serve like Christ served and live like He did. You know what I mean? And so we had talked about communication and commitment. That's really our relationship with Christ. That's one of the most essential things: communicating, praying, and being committed. And being committed looks like the fear of the Lord. Just having that reverential fear to Him. And then when we really look at it, marriage, it's just Christ's relationship with us is a parallel to marriage. Which when I found that out, I was like, wow, that's otherworldly. And you just talking about sacrificing, basically dying to ourselves for our wives, and that's what Christ did for us. And so that parallel, bro, like if we live as Christ lived, we're going to be able to be the king's servant. We're going to be that foundation for our household, because that's what Christ is for us.
Yes, bro. I agree 100%, bro. This is something that the Lord has been, He's been so. And I'm sure we'll touch on it a little bit later, but this is like one of the things that I focus on when I go around and I speak at different places. One of the key subjects that I focus on is leadership, and it's something that the Lord has really like showed me in a different light. When we hear leadership or we hear leader in this world and in society, there's one way of looking at it. A lot of the times it is the one who is high up. It's the person who has that label or that title. Everybody follows them. That person just tells everybody what to do, and you just follow that person's lead. But kingdom leadership is very different. And it's one thing, man, that like God has really just been changing my perspective on. And I believe, especially as men, it's amazing how Christ laid out the blueprint of what true leadership looks like. He laid it out for us, not just like told us what to do, but He lived it out.
Lived
it out. And so I have a framework that I teach. It's called the 7 characteristics of positive impact leadership. It is biblically based, and it's based off the life of Christ when He was here on earth. And Christ had He had an outer circle, a middle circle, and an inner circle. Outer circle is all of us, everybody that He's led, that He had influence on. But then His middle circle was His 12 disciples, right? That went with Him everywhere that He went. But then He had an inner circle, which was James, John, and Peter, and the Father. You feel me? So these were the ones that were in the most intimate moments and places with Him. And the way that He led in those situations, the way that He laid the blueprint out, knowing that He wouldn't always be there, but He prepared and equipped them to also become leaders. Guess what? He also laid that out for us as well. So us as men, like, we don't have to look at that person that owns that company as the leadership example. Like, we can look at other examples, but the ultimate leader, the most perfect leader was Christ Himself. And we could just go to His word and follow His life and see what He did and how He led, to learn how we can be better leaders in the workspace, in our marriage, with our kids, all of that. And so I'm just a big believer, man. Like, He's the ultimate leader. You feel me? And so the fact that you brought this up, bro, it's vital, that we look we center him in how we go about being a man, being a father, and being a husband.
Oh yeah, and God been doing the same thing on me, and we got to realize, and I know you do, but Jesus was fully man too. He's
Yes.
fully God, but he's also fully man. So everything he did, we can do
Yep.
because he was operating and also in his flesh. He had got tempted like we tempted, experienced everything. So it's not like, oh, he's just God up there and da da da. No, I love the fact that Jesus came and walked this earth and said, "This is the blueprint." Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that, man. Shoot. Do you have a problem with running down those 7? You don't have to go into great detail, but do you have the 7 points? Or that's something that
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I could definitely share. So, it's in no specific order, but the 7 characteristics of positive impact leadership. These are the 7 characteristics that Jesus exemplified when he was here as a man on earth. One is vulnerability, right? One is vulnerability. He was vulnerable in moments leading up to his death, where he was crying out to God, like, "Yo, like, take this cup from me,"
I
right?
need it.
I need it. When he was sitting there praying and crying out, when he cried with Mary and the others when Lazarus was asleep, but they thought he was dead, even though he knew he would raise him back from the dead. Like, he cried with them, he wept with them. So that prepare and equip. Jesus, he exemplified preparing and equipping the next set of leaders. So before Peter, James, John, all of them went out, before Acts came and the Holy Spirit fell and they went out and dispersed, like, he walked them day to day on what it looked like to serve, on what it looked like to lead. So prepare and equip. Another one is, and I need to write it out. Actually, I need to pull it up, but those are 2 of them. And then there's 5 others that I could just go down, but these 7 characteristics are just something that we can all of us, not just men, but we can all exemplify, and it all really comes from the Gospels. But where he really hones in on these characteristics is in Matthew chapter 20, and where he really exemplifies what kingdom leadership looks like. And so this is something, man, that I'm passionate about, and I get the chance to be able to pour into others and share. Hey, this is what leadership looks like, not over here, you know. So, and it's a journey that that I'm even on, and I'm learning every single day, and he's having to teach me.
Oh yeah, bro, I love it. I love it, man, because I'm really right in line with that. I'm leading the men's ministry at my church, and everything like that. So that's really something I'm harping on. Even being a watchman, being that man that prays. We always talk about the praying grandmother, praying mom, but what about the man? You are supposed to be on the wall with the word, the weapon in the hand, and the working tool in the other, doing your God given purpose. And using the word, like you watch on the wall, you could be a gatekeeper, guarding the gates of the cities of your homes, all that kind of stuff. So that watchman, gatekeeper, that's what the Lord has put on my heart. That really just to expound upon to men, and just really just, hey man, you a man, you supposed to be the one that I love the way Dr. Miles Monroe said it. I believe he said it. He was talking about, he said that the man needs to be the cement of the house, like the foundation.
The foundation,
The
that's good.
foundation of the house. Like, you ain't got to be at the forefront, and sometimes you will be. It depends on what kind of profession or whatever. But you got to be the foundation. If your foundation is solid, everybody else that's built upon your family, your kids, your grandkids, all that, even your aunts, uncles, and grandparents and parents, they all are going to be solid because the foundation's solid. When our foundation gets rocky, it's the crack in the foundation, the whole house is going to fall.
The whole house. Yo, listen, and then I got a question for you, because this is a vital subject, bro. And this is something that, I talk to my guys about all the time. But yo, healthier men leads to healthier families.
Mm-hmm.
Healthier men leads to healthier marriages, healthier families, then healthier societies. healthier workspace. So just think about, like, if we as men, if we are all in our rightful place and we are stepping up to the plate and we're being who we were destined and created to be, just imagine the impact that has on everything around us, everything, everything. And I do feel like that's why I appreciate guys like you, man, that are in the trenches, doing this work with men, because I know it's not easy. One, it's not easy because it's not easy for guys to open up. Because first off, we sitting back and whenever a guy comes and he's standing in front of us and he's trying to tell us something, we like, yo, who this guy think he is? We G-checking him first. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
And so, but then even just getting to that place of feeling safe enough to be vulnerable about how we're feeling, especially with all the stuff that we deal with internally and externally, it's not easy. And so, like, one question I want to ask you, and I ask different guys this: where's the disparity? Why is there such a lack of men operating in their rightful place? There's a ton of men that's doing it, but I feel like there's so much more room for improvement. Why do you feel like there's a disparity in that?
Like we said earlier, point everybody to Christ. We're not yielded and submitted to the one that gives us the blueprint. That is, I think that's the number one thing.
Yeah,
because when we do, like you just went over, even in your 7 points and how you speak, when we do live as Christ lived, everything else is going to fall into place. He lived a perfect life. We're not going to be perfect. But we found that blueprint. Things will get done. When you're yielded to Christ, He's going to reveal His mission to you. You're a God-given purpose. You're the reason that you were created before you was formed, the purpose He gave to you. And when you see that, you're gonna go. We're gonna go headlong into it. Like, oh, that's my purpose. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I got a job, but my job is not my purpose. My job is not my source. God is my source. We can lose the job now, but Christ, He already did it. He already took care of it. He said he's my provider. He said he's my provider. He didn't say your job is your provider. He said I am.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna take it a step further with you, because this is important. And this is important for people like to hear. So what if you say that and then somebody's listening to this, or a man is or someone is listening to this and they're like, okay, don't we all need Christ? Okay, like I get it. Like we need to put Christ at the center of it. So what is the disconnect with men putting Christ first? And even when you look at churches, there's way more women in churches than there are men. And yes, like there's demographics wise in this world, there's much more women than men, but it's like a huge gap, especially in the church, or especially in these places where we're serving. Why do you feel like men, what is the disconnect as to why we're not putting God at the center of all of it? Let's take it a step further. Like what is that about?
I think one, if we're not seeking Him first, we're not reading the Word, we're not praying daily. So that way you don't have that connection. So you could say I'm a Christian, I do all that, but if you're not seeking Him first, if He's not the first fruits of your life, then are you really a Christian? Is that the fruit coming out of your mouth? Is your fruit? You could tell the person by their fruit. And I think a lot of men, this off the cuff answers. Two, I think a lot of men, when they go to church and they see the women, their wives and stuff, boasting or even just appreciating the pastor more than they appreciate them at home. And you are just glorifying, in a sense, the pastor and what he's saying. But you're not getting the same energy at home. Or you're glorifying, the woman's glorifying her son more than they glorify their husband. I think it has a lot to do with maybe adoration, if you will, like just being adored as a man, being adored as your rightful place. But some people, they haven't did the things they needed to deserve that. But I think it has a lot to do with how men see themselves, and how they see their wives or their women looking at others, especially those in high positions like pastors. Because unfortunately in the church, man, a lot of people glorify the pastor so much they listen to the pastor more than they listen to the word of God. And since a lot of men are not diving into the word for themselves, they can't listen to a pastor and rebuke and correct, or even come home and wash their wife with the word, because they don't know the word. And so you can't. Jesus was the word. I think one thing my wife said to me, she was like, I believe men have to become the word. And that was so profound to me, because Jesus is the word, and that is our image bearer. That's who we're supposed to be bearing the image of. So if Jesus was the word, we have to become the word. So I'm not saying you gotta only speak Bible. I'm saying that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what is in your heart? What are you chewing on? Like, is the fruit of the spirit coming out? So I really think men are not diving into the word and becoming the word like they're supposed to. That's part of being, because how much did Jesus fast and pray? How much time did he spend? Like, before he even walked on water, he was in prayer all night. Like, before he did his purpose, he was 40 days of fasting. I mean, regularly. He said that certain things don't happen unless you fast and pray. And if you don't live that lifestyle, how are you expecting even your wife to even be submission, because you not even yielded to Christ, which Christ is yielded to God? So it ain't like he ain't yielded. Everybody's yielded to somebody. Nobody's overbearing, like you mentioned earlier. I just think that everybody has to be yielded. And so if you do not know who you are in Christ, because I can go to any church and I see the pastor, I'm not going to be offended or even worried about him, because I know who I am in Christ, and whatever he has for me. Like, and we talked about Myron, we both listen to Myron. Whatever he has for me is for me. It ain't for nobody. I'm created for a specific purpose. So that whatever your purpose is, it can't cross over to my purpose. And whatever the enemy has, the wheat and the parable, the wheat and the daggone weeds will grow up together, and then neither one of them tangle each other out. They grow up together, and then at the time, he take the wheat and put it in the barn, and the weeds is going to the furnace. So you can't stop my purpose.
Yo, this is you speaking. First of all, you preaching right now, brother.
That's what I do.
And this is good, because I agree with you. You know, I do. I think I'm gonna take it a step back. So I think there's an outright. I think everything, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, right? So I feel like there's an outright spiritual attack since day one. If you go to Genesis 1, there's an outright spiritual attack in general on humanity, but specifically on the man.
Amen.
Specifically. And I think it is important for us to understand that, because if we don't know that an attack is coming, guess what? We're going to get attacked, right? We're going to get caught lacking. I think it's important for us to understand and actually voice and be real and say, yo, there's an outright attack on men. I mean, we see it everywhere, in movies, on shows. The disrespect is out of pocket. You feel me? And for men, for us, women, the way you connect with a woman, emotions, love, right? It talks about this in Ephesians, right? Love, like connecting with them by loving them. And but with men, it's respect. It's a respect thing. Men, we like to feel like we are needed, like we are, our voice is heard, like we are respected. And when that is not happening, what do men do? Oh, y'all don't need my help, or y'all don't need me here? Bet. I'm going to just sit back.
I'll find it somewhere else.
I'll find it somewhere else. Exactly. And that's how we run to all the wrong places. And we go to where we feel respected, or we feel seen, or we feel heard. And so that's one thing. I do think that discipleship right now is so important, bro.
Amen.
So important.
Amen.
But fathers, what you're doing right now, like what this show talks about, bro, is so important, man. And this is something that I'm dealing with and navigating now as the things that I've gone through with my dad growing up, my experiences, I'm having to wrestle with some things because I'm about to become a father myself. And there's some things that I'm like, man, well, I don't want to, I love my dad. Like he did the best he could with what he knew. But these are the things I don't want to repeat. I don't want to carry this into me being a father. I feel like it is so important, man. Like the role of being a father, bro, since the ancient days, bro, is so important. It's so important because then when you don't have that role in the home, or a man is not being fathered correctly, what he has to do is now figure out life by trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
No man comes into this world like, you know what? I'm gonna cheat on my wife. Or you know what? I'm not gonna be in my kids' life when I have them. No man has original intentions of doing that. But what happens is along the way, we don't know how to deal with our stuff because we weren't taught how to do that. And that's why what you said, man, like Jesus being the ultimate example and God being the perfect father, that's where we start. Like, and as a father, that's something, man, that I want to carry and I will carry into my home. I carry it into my marriage. I will carry it when Noah gets here, pointing her and making sure that I am stewarding my family well and stewarding my role as a father and pointing them to the ultimate father. Because yo, listen, I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm not gonna be a perfect father. Don't
Fallible,
listen. Don't
extremely.
don't depend on me getting it right all the time, because I'm not. I'm imperfect, but I know someone who is,
Whew.
so I can point you there. You feel me? And that's, I feel like in society and what we're dealing with, this disparity that we're dealing with men, is what we're needing, man. We're needing men to stand up and steward the roles that we have and that we've been called to pour into the next generation of men, or to pour into the next generation of leaders, and say, hey, this is my role. I'm going to step up. I'm going to commit to it. But like you said, I'm also being led by the Father himself. I'm in the word. I'm emulating the image. Like I'm an image bearer. You feel me? And so I feel like that's the main thing, man. There's an outright attack on men, bro, and we got to recognize it. And the only way that we can overcome it is by the blood of the Lamb and in the word, man.
You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied, because it's God's order, and He's a God of order.
Yeah.
And so, man, hey, and that's why I want to commend you and just applaud you, because I know you remember, but back in the day, bro, you helped me so much when you had that men's call. We used to come on and chop it up, and
Yeah,
I was still young in that jersey. I think you was one of the first ones out of the whole crew, the Leesville crew, all of us that really started living for Christ. So I definitely got to commend you, because you really opened a door, especially for me. I know for me, I can speak for me specifically, bro. That men's call, bro, just really chopping it up and helping us be vulnerable, bro. I really appreciate that. But I just want to commend you, because you're still doing it, even on a deeper and a more profound level now.
Yeah,
and
I
so I just
appreciate
want
that.
to continue just to encourage you, man, to keep going, because
I appreciate it, bro.
there is an attack on us, bro, and we got to be the ones that stand firm with the full armor.
Yeah,
We got to be on that wall, bro. We got to be in that full armor. Like you said, we can't get caught lacking. We have the armor on and that shield of faith up.
yeah,
Hey, it's gonna be hard to catch us.
yeah,
But even with that, we had to wear armor, because we gonna get caught. Like he says it's gonna be persecution, bro. And what I learned, I was reading in Philippians 2. It said that the same grace that saved you is basically the same grace that requires you to suffer. I read that. I said, wow. Like that same grace, that empowering grace, the grace is sufficient, is the same one that requires us to suffer. So in our suffering, brother, just keep on going, because I think Paul also said that, how would people hear the word unless it's been preached? And, preaching doesn't necessarily mean the pulpit, or teaching doesn't necessarily mean the pulpit. It could be this, it could be when you on your stage. So just keep going, bro. Press towards the mark, run the race to completion. And rely on the grace of God, man. So definitely keep doing your thing, bro. Keep doing your thing.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that, man. That means more than you know, bro. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna do that, bro. I'm gonna continue to do that, and the same for you, bro. Like we all in this together. You feel me? Like we make up the body of Christ. You feel me? And like we talked about, more than ever, bro, it's needed. So I really appreciate that, bro. And I will, um, you know, I one thing that people don't see, and I have no problem admitting, is that I lean on other people, man, because I don't always feel strong. You feel me? So I lean on other people, and when I don't, when I feel hopeless or I feel like I don't have hope in a moment, I know I got others around me, especially men, that I could borrow hope from. You feel me? And it's so important, man. And so, and what we're called to do, we can't do it alone. And so, I even appreciate you just for what you're doing and doing this, man. It means a lot.
Most definitely, man. We all parts of one body, and we
Yeah,
all important for that reason, man. So, give us just a rundown of you speaking, and kind of let everybody know what you do, how
yeah,
you do it,
yeah,
what's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Yeah. So so if you want to keep up with me, you can my website is regjonesjr.com. That shares a little bit more in detail about what I speak on, what I focus on. But I'm passionate about three things, man. That's faith, leadership, and personal development. And one thing that I know that I've been called to is to basically bridge the gap between the four walls, the church, and the people that are out there on the streets that needs to know who God is. And the way you do that is sometimes you got to meet people where they are. And so that's what I'm doing, man. You know, I've worked in corporate spaces. I worked in real estate. I've done a former athlete as well. And the thing is, there's so many ways that, so many different ways to connect, you know, with the people that need it the most, that maybe never stepped into a church. And so I feel like that's been my call. So that's what I do, man, outside of just caring for my wife, serving my family, serving the community and next generation of leaders around me. And yeah, man, those are the things that I'm passionate about and that I enjoy. I'm working on some things, man, in regards to a book, God willing, in regards to the seven characteristics that we talked about and just how Christ, you know, exemplified biblical leadership, how he gave us an example of what that looks like, but also some other things, man. Also a journal. I don't know if I share with you, but a journal that creates a safe space for men. It's specifically for men, and it helps us to be able to articulate how we feel. And a lot of times men don't feel safe going to people first. So one safe space you can start is by going to a journal, because it's just you and that journal, and you can invite God into that. So that's something else that I'm working on, man. But I'm just out here, bro. I'm out here just doing what I feel assigned to do and just running that race until I can't run it no more, until he calls me home. And that's what I'm committed to.
Sheesh, that's fine. I know you had all that, bro. I know
I'm
that.
working.
That's awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome, man. I
yeah,
just pray nothing but blessings over that and your endeavors, man. Definitely would love the link to the journal. Definitely doing better being vulnerable, but I am a writer, you know that. So I
yeah,
enjoy
yeah,
doing that as well. So,
yeah,
man, make sure y'all check out regjonesjr.com. Check my man out. All he does, man, for men. Hey, we are the foundation to our house,
yeah, yeah,
foundation to our family. We are needed. We are necessary. You are important. You are God's plan
mm,
to bring about his purpose through you
mm.
and through your family. So continue to yield to his purpose, his will, and submit. Man, this is episode 103. Hey, everybody stay blessed.
All right, y'all.